Now, let's move on. The last thing we need to style are the paragraphs inside of our lists. We've already done a little bit here, but there's still more that we can do. So I'm going to select our gallery, select the list items, select the anchor elements inside of those list items, and select the paragraphs inside of the anchor elements. So just to review our HTML, we're going from our gallery into the list items, into the anchor elements, and then selecting these paragraphs right here. So that's where the styling will be applied. Let's give them a margin of 0 because paragraphs do have some margin by default, so we want to 0 that out. We'll set the padding to 5% just to space them out a little bit. We want to decrease the font size because they're a bit large, so we'll set it to 0.75 ems. And then finally, we're going to adjust the color, and we'll set it to BD C3 C7. So if we save that out, switch back to our browser, and refresh, you can see that now we have this lighter gray color here applied to our links as well. So whether the text is linked or unlinked, this is the color that will be displayed. We've set the margin to 0 in favor of adding padding around the image. This is better because margin has a tendency to push elements even if they're side of the parent container. In other words, they push elements where they shouldn't. And finally, you can see the effect that the font size declaration had. It decreased the size of the fonts here, so they're a little bit more readable. We'll go ahead and resize and see what that looks like. Once again, there's still more work to do on the desktop layout, but we will get to that later. For now, we're just concerned with kind of the mobile view here. So far, so good. There's one last thing we need to fix before we move our attention on to other things. If you look at the footer, you'll notice that it's somehow up inside of the gallery here. That's because it's behaving exactly as it's been told. It's simply flowing around these other floated elements. We need this footer to be cleared of any influence from the other floats on both the left and the right sides. So let's find our footer and add a property called clear. We'll set the value of clear to both because we want it to be cleared on both the left and the right sides. So let's scroll up here. And just below where it says text align center, we'll go ahead and say clear both. Save that out, switch back to the browser, and refresh. And as you can see, the footer is now exactly where it belongs again. There's still those spacing problems up at the top of the page, but we'll fix that up soon when we put the finishing touches on our navigation and header. Our gallery is pretty much done. We'll need to do some additional work to make it look better on desktop browsers, and we'll also need to do some mobile testing, but so far things are coming together. We're going to build out our navigation in just a moment, but first, let's take a quick code challenge.